Her dad had a choice to make. Hop on the internet or hop into his Ford Expedition. Thanks to Expedition's power and versatility, Sarah was able to experience the tall ships firsthand and get more than she hoped for. And Dad, he saved a boatload thanks to 0-9 financing during the Ford authorized clearance, plus something extra special.
Thanks, Dad.
Ford Expedition, built Ford tough, built for the way you live.
Congo, the new gorilla forest, now at the Bronx Zoo.
Pickpocketers caught in the act. The picture's at 11.
And Candid Camera will return next Friday. Now a CBS special presentation. Who inspired your favorite stars? TV influences from yesterday to today. CBS next.
We're standing on the shoulders of all these great shows.
The great shows that we've had in television have broken new barriers.
I always loved people who made me laugh.
To me, what's funny is when things slip out of people's mouths.
She was, to me, the greatest.
She drove the story, but yet she was also the clown.
You knew that Ralph Grandin was never going to kill Ed Norton.
But wow, what an entertainer.
He's just, superior at what he does.
I want to be him. I want to do that.
He had that everyman sort of coolness about him.
I was really obsessed by television and really warped by it.
It's very tricky to say I want to be original.
One of the bravest shows I've ever seen on television.
I loved to be scared when I was a kid.
We just wanted to do something different.
Good evening. Tonight we'll be looking at how today's television was shaped by the great television of the past. And we'll be looking at those influences through the eyes of some of its most gifted actors, comedians, writers, and directors. In the 50 years that television has existed, it's constantly reinvented itself and given us, through entertainment, a new idea of who we are and where we're going. But each new breakthrough show has been made possible by the programs and the people who have gone before it. Tonight's guests will tell you that story in their own words, who they admired, what they hoped they could achieve, and which of television's influences and inspirations they drew on to achieve it.
Look at me, I'm a nervous wreck. I gotta do something to calm down. Double espresso, please. They have got to move the bathroom closer to the studio.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Can I put that on tape?
A classically trained actor, a gifted comedian, Kelsey Grammer created one of television's most enduring and popular characters, a character who's made a home on 2 successful and respected television comedy series. But his comic persona of the educated, aloof intellectual has a pedigree that reaches back to some of comedy's greatest names, some of which may surprise you.
I remember as a little boy, I used to do an impression of Louis Armstrong for my mother that would make her laugh. With a handkerchief, I would sing "Hello, Dolly."
Hello, Dolly. This is Louis. It's so nice to have you back where you belong.
For crying out loud!
I had no idea that I was going to end up doing what I now do for a living.
Quelle surprise.
But being an actor seemed like something that was pretty cool. And surfing wasn't an option for a lifetime of employment, and I thought this was the next best thing. In my early years, Bob Hope was a big influence. I mean, watching the USO specials, those were great.
This is Guantanamo, as it's sometimes called Little Alcatraz.
His ease on stage, and his charm, and his ability to just turn a phrase.
Please, don't crowd me, you'll throw me off balance. I wouldn't want to break any records.
Don't worry, you won't.
He was always willing to be silly about himself. And I suppose you could say the same thing about Jack Benny, although they did it slightly different ways.
Hello, Mr. Benny.
Hello.
The timing was a bit different, but they had a similar slow burn sort of take out to the audience. Jack Benny actually was willing to let it go further than most people. His pauses were what his timing was. And his pauses were the longest in history.
Your money or your life?
The first time he did Quick, Your Money or Your Life, I think the pause is about 40 seconds.
I said your money or your life. I'm thinking it over.
Through all those pauses that he did, something was always going on. In many cases, it was very small, but it was constantly moving. He would start out here, then go over there, and bring a hand up like that, then go over there, and then go back over there. He made fun of himself, and that's, I think, what the key was.
You're pretty brave with that gun in your hand, ain't you? Throw that gun away, I'll show you a coward. Okay.
I think Frasier has successfully paid off in the same way a little bit, because, I mean, Frasier is often what we would consider to be not a lovable person, because he's very full of himself and he's very opinionated, but he diffuses it somehow with this kind of vulnerability.
Well, close the record books. That was just the dullest 3 hours in the history of the Frasier Crane Show.
Oh, come on. It wasn't so bad. What about that woman who was so concerned about her appearance she wouldn't leave the house?
That was a commercial.
He's really just trying to do his best. You have to like him for that, even though he stumbles, and stumbles pretty hard sometimes.
The whole idea of getting somebody in here was to help ease my burden, not to add to it.
Oh, you hear that, Eddie? We're a burden.
Oh, Dad, you're twisting my words. I meant burden in its most positive sense.
A lot of people do think that it's only funny to trade insults without making them based upon fondness or love. The big thing that's different with us two, these characters all really love each other.
You haven't heard a word I said. Oh, Niles, you're a psychiatrist. You know what it's like to listen to people prattling on endlessly about their mundane lives.
Touché. And on that subject, I heard your show today.
It's a lot like the Ralph Norton relationship in the Honeymooners. They each have habits that drive each other crazy.
The bet is on. The bet is off, Norton. Either give me the $5 or let the girls continue the game. There's no game. You said she couldn't play. Look, Norton, there's not enough room in this pool room for you and I. There ain't enough room in this pool room for you and anybody. Now give me the $5. Give me the $5. You want $5? I'll give you $5 right now.
You knew that Ralph Cramden was never going to kill Ed Norton, although he said it all the time. You know, you are a mental case. When, you know, was said with so much love at the same time.
Wait a minute. I don't want the television set. You can have it, Norton. I don't want it either, Ralph. All I want is you.
I think what we do is we recognize ourselves, and that's where you become invited to laugh.
My God, I'm having a flashback. You're climbing in my crib and jumping on me. You stole my mommy.
Maybe somebody else on some level would just go, oh, for goodness sake, you're just talking about a TV show. And, you know, maybe that's what it is. But for me, it's like a ministry in a weird way. It's like what I was given to do. It's what I'm supposed to do.
James L. Brooks has one of television's most creative and fertile imaginations. As a writer-producer, he has created some of television's most innovative and enduring series. Room 222, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Taxi, Lou Grant, Rhoda, The Tracy Ullman Show, The Simpsons.
Boring!
One thing they all have in common is Brooks' compassion for character. There are no stereotypes, no bad guys, no judgment.
Hey, man, what is your problem?
He has a knack for taking eccentric characters and allowing us, through them, to see our own foibles. As critic Janet Maslin said, no one does a better job of backing characters into happiness than Jim Brooks.
I guess the first show that, to me, it was such a landmark show was when Dick Van Dyke happened. That was it. That's all anybody talked about.
You're really nuts about me, aren't you?
Not really, but Richie likes you, and I hate to waste food.
Nobody wrote anything else but the Dick Van Dyke Show for their spec script. Those were in the days when the Dick Van Dyke Show was surrounded by a lot of gimmick shows, a lot of, high premise shows. Everything was like that, Green Acres kind of idea. And how do you go into a network and pitch, these are sort of attractive people who tend to say funny things. There's no way to pitch that show. It was just all about fine writing.
Well, honey, what if I were a blonde? Would I be as attractive to you if I were a blonde?
I can't picture you as a blonde, honey. No, wait a minute. Yes, I can. You know who you'd look like?
Who?
Harpo Marx.
I didn't get any assignment or anything, but in those days, a typewriter, just to roll paper in and just write Rob and dialogue.
Oh, Rob.
Oh, Rob!
Dick Van Dyke is such a reflection of Carl Reiner, who was a Your Show of Shows guy and came from that extraordinary, comic literature. This was his stuff. This was his slant on life. This was his joy. It was about writing for Your Show of Shows.
Oh, is that the comedy spot? No, Bubblehead. This is a comedy spot.
And I think the success of the Dick Van Dyke Show absolutely insisted that people try and do the job the same way Carl did. I always wanted to write. I never would consider it because, I just couldn't imagine the idea that you could make a living that way. As I was trying to get a real job, I filled the time by sending out some spec scripts.
Mom!
Of course, my first credit was My Mother the Car. That was, in case people forget, I can't imagine that they did, somebody's mother who died and came back as a 1928 automobile.
You see, you'll probably go through the roof when you hear this.
I gave them these pages, and they handed me money. It was amazing.
As far as I'm concerned, there isn't a guy in the world who's good enough for that girl.
Bill Persky and Sam Denoff, very admired writers who had taken over the Dick Van Dyke Show. Did That Girl with Marlo Thomas.
Ease out the clutch very slowly.
Very slow.
Right.
Just a little gas.
I did a few of those shows, and that show had a good profile, I think, for writers. And off that, I think I got a call from 20th Century Fox where they just asked me to do a show about a black school teacher. At the time, it was really unusual, and it was the end of the 60s, and it was those times, and do we have a right to do that?
I know I have a lot of middle-class hang-ups. I went to a segregated school.
Oh, that's okay. So did I.
Gene Reynolds was the producer. He later did MASH. And Gene, in terms of a human being who influenced me as much as anybody because he sent me to the high school to do research. And then he sent me back, and then he sent me back, and then he sent me back. He forced me to spend so much time there that research became very natural to me. And it became part of almost everything I did since.
If you fellas have something to add to the discussion, why don't you share it with the rest of us?
Mr. Dixon, what we was trying to do is straighten out something we heard this morning.
What's that, Jason?
Oh, we heard that it was going to be this new cat coming to the school, and he was a real Navajo Indian.
It's very tricky to say I want to be original. I don't know whether that works. You just try and do it as good as you can.
What religion are you?
Mr. Grant, I don't quite know how to say this, but you're not allowed to ask that when someone's applying for a job. It's against the law.
The Mary Tyler Moore Show came along right at the start of feminism.
Would you think I was violating your civil rights if I asked if you're married?
Presbyterian.
We were in love with Mary. We did the show for Mary. And one of the great contributions Mary made to the show is the lack of ego. That's how we got an ensemble show going.
Ted Baxter, Walter Cronkite.
It's an honor to meet you, Mr. Cronkite.
Call me Walter.
I don't think there's a mystery to why things work. I mean, if I sat here a long time and talked about all the influential shows, I would end up with this season, and I would end up with Ally McBeal. It's stunning original ideas, and she is as complete a literary figure as I've ever come across.
I read that once.
And the show just casually reinvents itself almost every other second.
We could change it, Renee. Society is made up of more women than men, and if women really wanted to change society, they could do it. I plan to change it. I just want to get married first.
These shows that we're mentioning tend to have had a writer who had the responsibility for the show and took it. Television probably is one of the last stands for writer control. I mean, a writer can still control his work almost utterly on television. There's nothing like it. Nothing in terms of giving a writer control any place on the landscape.
When we come back, we'll talk to Paul Reiser, as well as one of the great masters behind the scenes who makes the comedy work. I'm Candace Bergen. We'll be right back.
Influences from yesterday to today. Sponsored by Windex Antibacterial. It's time for a germ-free shine.
If you're using two products, one to kill germs and one to shine your kitchen, it can feel like you've got two of everything. It doesn't have to. Introducing Windex Antibacterial Glass and Surface Cleaner, the first antibacterial that not only kills tough germs, but leaves a streak-free Windex shine. Without the film, the leading antibacterial can leave behind. So why deal with two unless you have to?
Mom, I'm hungry.
Try Windex Antibacterial. It's time for a germ-free shine. S.C. Johnson.
I have 3 kids. I don't have a minute to eat right. I gained weight.
If you want a delicious way to lose weight from Slim Fast, grab a meal on the go bar.
It's perfect for my life. They're fantastic. The peanut butter's incredible. I lost 14 pounds on the Slim Fast plan. Just grab a bar. It's lunch.
22 vitamins and minerals, high in calcium, a well-balanced meal in 4 fantastic flavors.
I feel great. I really feel like I have control.
Slim Fast meal on the go bars. Every day. Balanced nutrition for a healthy life.
The bars are a great idea.
Staples presents the Staples Coach of the Week program. It's our salute to leaders on the field and in the classroom. And it's your chance to win $5,000 in school supplies for your school, plus a visit from your local NFL head coach. To enter, visit a Staples near you. Register at www.staples.com or send your entry to Staples Coach of the Week. Watch NFL Today Sundays on CBS for winners.
Isn't it cool that our bodies were designed to bend and move and be flexible? It's also cool that Always with Flexi Wings does all the same stuff. Looks like they took a lesson from us and designed a wing that moves like we do and wraps around really smoothly. The wings help my pads stay in place so much better, and the sides of my underwear are more protected than with my ordinary maxi, even when I twist or turn, making me feel as if wearing a pad is the most natural thing in the world. Always with Flexi Wings. Better protection.
Forget the dragon. This is the year of sparkling mandarin orange Jell-O. It's not just delicious, it's illuminating. Just add cold club soda, and you've picked the juiciest orange and lit its fuse.
Sparkling mandarin orange Jell-O. Smile more.
Okay, Brian, to win it all, the clue is meow.
Still not easier than Kraft Easy Mac. A single serving, microwavable, it's the cheesiest anytime. It's Easy Mac.
Tycoon, living with family in penthouse, net worth $4 billion.
That has a ring to it.
Doorman, living with son in basement, net worth $4.86.
My dogs are barking.
Having their kids fall in love, priceless.
Gorgeous dress.
Vera Wang, I like your belt.
Home Depot.
Love and Money, CBS Friday this fall.
Mandy Patinkin. Just one reason it's going to be a whole new hope. Chicago Hope. CBS Thursday this fall.
Every year, almost 17,000 driving deaths are caused by alcohol, and even one drink can affect your driving ability. Please, never drink and drive.
Paul Reiser is the creator, co-producer, and star of one of the most popular shows on television, Mad About You. He translated a successful stand-up career into a hit comedy by looking at the riddles of modern married life with honesty, sophisticated wit, and comic accuracy. And in the process, created one of the most famous television marriages since The Dick Van Dyke Show.
One of the first shows that I remember watching regularly was Red Skelton Show, because my dad wanted to watch Red Skelton, so it was on. And it was before the days of everybody has their own set. And I still appreciate how much enjoyment he seemed to have doing what he did, and how free-spirited he was, how giving, how generous he was.
If that's polka dot paint, I'll eat it. Okay. Good paint, but it gets away from me.
When I was 15 or so, I discovered The 2,000-Year-Old Man, Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner, which just sort of opened up every blood vessel in my brain.
What were these sports you had 2,000 years ago? What sports did you play then?
Well, the same basic sports what you have today. We played cricket and squash.
You mean?
We enjoyed those
Really?
sports.
Same rules we have today?
No, we were more primitive. We didn't have the same rules. We
Well,
played it
how-
a little different.
how did you play?
Well, we'd run down on the playing fields. We'd catch up a few crickets and squash them.
Both of those guys have been on our show, and getting to work with them in person has been such a thrill. Actually, it was very sad because if you look at any of the shows that we've done with Mel Brooks, there are a lot of cuts away from me because I'm incapable of keeping a straight face.
That's not me. You're right. You're right. It's a picture of France. But from here, it could be Paulie on a pony. Yeah. Paulie on a pony, France. Paulie on a pony, France. Paulie on a pony, France. Romania.
I was doing stand-up at the time when I created the show, and I had just moved in with my soon-to-be my wife, and so the stuff that was coming out on stage worked better, and I thought, well, if I was going to do a show, it should be about the stuff that I know.
Marriage, it's supposed to be different than this.
I put up with your crap, and you put up with my crap.
That's marriage?
This is what I'm thinking.
It's funny, when we first pitched this show, people said, gosh, there hasn't been a great relationship show since Dick Van Dyke.
I'll kiss you so hard your teeth will rattle. Good enough.
And you better get me a dental appointment, because there are going to be a lot of loose teeth around here tonight.
Have you seen my maternity boxer shorts?
No. We're standing on the shoulders of all these great shows, and there's so many hours of television that have existed that you can't help but be influenced by and recall. Then your job becomes to top it or to twist it. Watch me.
Voila.
I gave birth.
It's a matter of honoring those influences and building upon them. You don't want to repeat them, and you don't want to repeat yourself.
Jim Burrows is a television director with a gift for launching hit comedy series from Taxi to Cheers.
Are you as turned on as I am?
More.
To Frasier.
Don't you find that the least bit incriminating?
To Friends. His rapport with actors, his exquisite sense of timing, his ear for dialogue, and sense for the truth of character has made him one of the most respected directors working in television today.
Being a show business kid, television for me was kind of watching people I knew in one form or another work. I used to watch Lucy and Car 54 and the Phil Silvers Show because I never knew where they were going with the story.
The National Underwriters Insurance Company in settlement for accident?
5 years ago, I was hit by a cab.
Goodbye.
That was far and away my favorite show. Oh, it's you, Bill Joe.
Yes, sir.
You had one of the most unlikable characters in television being made sympathetic.
This man don't have to talk. If you don't want to talk, just leave him alone. Where's the money?
And you love to watch it. I realized then that 90% of humor was surprise, and that's incumbent on a hit television show. You have to have something that brings you back every week.
Welcome aboard, Miss Chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Malone.
The evolution of Cheers was the third year of Taxi. We had an agreement with NBC to do a show, and the three of us sat down. We talked about our favorite show was Fawlty Towers, one of the bravest shows I've ever seen on television.
Mrs. Richards, how very nice to see you. Are you enjoying your stay?
There's no need to shout. I have my hearing aid on. Well, what have you got to say for yourself? Wait. I haven't got it turned up enough. Basil.
I said
The Glenn and myself. Fawlty Towers was one of the best shows we'd ever seen.
God, you're ugly, aren't you?
Basil, I'll get the doctor.
You need a plastic surgeon, dear, not a doctor.
A meaner man than Archie Bunker. And you are on your ass laughing.
And I once said to Cleese, how did you get away with it? He said, Basil did it all for his wife.
Yes, I will, yes. No, I haven't yet, but I will, yes. Yes, I know it is, yes. I'll try and get it cleared up. Anything else? I mean, would you like the hotel moved a bit to the left, or...?
Any kind of hook in a character gets your audience, and then you can do whatever you want with the character. The center of your show is a very valuable person. No more graphic example than on Cheers.
Well?
You're a magnificent pagan beast.
Thanks. What's the message?
Sam Malone was the center of Cheers, so if Sam said Cliff was okay, America said Cliff was okay.
Thank God I don't have an alcoholic personality.
You don't have a personality.
I think the great thing about Cheers was they had written a show about guys sitting around a bar, and it was all about the word.
Don't get all defensive, but maybe you are drinking a little more than you should.
Well, so are you.
I already have a mother, lush face.
I once said to my father, you know, how come you do comedy? And he had glasses, and he said, most people see the world this way. I see the world this way. And it's as simple as that.
When we come back, Conan O'Brien and Lisa Kudrow. And still to come, David Duchovny, Gary Shandling, Dennis Franz, Ellen DeGeneres, Fran Drescher, Matt Groening, and many more. Stay with us.
Change is taking place all over America. Big change. Because now you can call anyone across America for just 8 cents a minute on calls over 10 minutes. All day, every day. Just dial 1010-321, and you can talk as long as you want to the people you care about the most. You don't have to sign up. Just dial 1010-321, then 1 and the number. It's that simple. 8 cents a minute on calls over 10 minutes, day or night with 1010-321.
When you see your kids grow, you assume they're growing strong, healthy bones. But maybe they're not. 72% of our kids aren't getting enough calcium during the years when pediatricians say bones grow the most. That's why your kids' favorite cereals from General Mills now provide them with a good source of calcium. Are your kids getting enough? Look for this seal on cereals kids love from General Mills.
I'm concerned about my cholesterol. Got a bite. Cutting back on junk food. Fortunately, my wife Joy discovered a new spread called Take Control. Take Control helps promote my healthy cholesterol levels, and it's delicious.
New Take Control.
Why is it models always look 15? Wrinkles? Talk to her in about 20 years.
At the Pond's Institute, we don't give you hype, just results. Our age-defying lotion is proven to visibly reduce fine lines by up to 77%. Age-defying lotion, no hype, just younger-looking skin.
Sure, my arthritis hurts, but I don't like strong-smelling rubs. So I rub in odor-free Aspercreme.
Clinically proven to relieve minor arthritis pain in minutes.
It works well without the smell.
Aspercreme, clinically proven odor-free pain relief without aspirin.
Most daily shower cleaners leave oily-looking residue on chrome, but Shower Shine leaves nothing but shine. Use your head and get Shower Shine from the scrubbing bubbles. They work hard after every shower, so you don't have to.
Let's try the hefty one zips, please.
Have to make up your mind to pick up on
That's easy. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Now let's try the other bag, please. No, ma'am. That's still the hefty one zip. Please put down the hefty one zip.
Can you hear me in there? Have to make up your mind.
Hey, you know what?
What?
I'm out of one zips. Can I have some more?
Hefty one zip slider bags. You slide it, you're done.
When you live in a house full of women,
They're getting a little cramped in here.
they can make you feel guilty,
What I do?
make you crazy,
Would you like a Valium?
Please.
make you anxious.
What would I be looking for that would indicate a boy child?
Set of golf clubs and a fear of intimacy.
But above all, they can make you a better man.
My girls, my women, they're what give me a soul.
Ladies' man.
Let me tell you what I've learned about women. Nothing.
A new comedy coming this fall to CBS Monday.
You know, I wasn't always this tall.
Like any adult, Professor Wonder was once very small and very strange.
So, for balanced nutrition, Mom chose soft, delicious Wonder Bread with vitamins, calcium, and iron. I grew and grew and grew. And today, as Mom says,
He's definitely his father's son.
remember the wonder.
Smidge of bad news, folks. Your Taurus got nailed by one of the side rollers. Let's test drive this Buick Century instead.
But we're spending the day with my mother.
I really like the handling. Oh, yeah. Century's got standard traction control, ABS brakes.
Beats our Taurus LX.
Hey, you want to drive it?
I'd love to, Lester.
There's never been a better time to zero in on a Buick with 0% APR GMAC financing on Century. Or lease a Century for just $289 a month for 36 months with 0 down and 0 due at lease signing. Call for lease details. See your Buick dealer today.
Talk Radio's favorite host comes to CBS 2, Dr. Joy Brown, this fall.
Dave's in Miami with Glenn Close tonight on CBS.
His late-night talk show is built around a high-octane combination of wicked satire, surreal sketch work, and some of the most fearlessly strange comic bits in television. Conan O'Brien has now put his own stamp on the late-night genre, a style that sometimes echoes Ernie Kovacs and Sid Caesar with a hip, unfettered energy that is completely his own.
My very first show, which was September 13th, 1993, people were tuning in the way people tune in to see Evel Knievel jump Snake River Canyon. The reason most people watched my show in the beginning was that they thought they might really see somebody die on TV. Tonight's program is better than most infomercials. I wasn't Johnny Carson, I wasn't David Letterman, I wasn't Jay Leno, and I wasn't a polished performer. I was someone coming out there who was new at it but had a passion for it and made rookie mistakes. The style of our show and the intent was always to try and strike off in a different direction than what David Letterman had done. David Letterman and I, in my opinion, did a brilliant job with the 12:30 show. There was Carson, and then David Letterman came along in 1982 and did the anti-talk show.
And the #1 romantic word when spoken by Barry White.
Oprah.
And it was very ironic. It was a lot of anti-performance.
Bowling for eggnog. A fat guy into a hammock full of eggs.
Letterman's brilliant at winking at you and letting you know that it's just Dave, and he can step outside the sketch at any time. What I wanted to do was something different. As much as I admire what he did, I can't out David Letterman. What I wanted to do was really commit to things.
No, I mean, I feel like a jerk now.
I'm sorry.
Why do you push me like that?
I didn't know you'd go that far.
I was very influenced early on by Sid Caesar, and Sid Caesar did a This Is Your Life sketch.
This is your story, Al Duncy.
And Sid Caesar panics. He doesn't want to be on TV.
The intimate inside story.
And starts to run. And for 6 minutes of the sketch, the ushers, everybody is chasing him. They tackle him, they drag him, he breaks free, runs again. Sid Caesar wasn't winking and letting everyone know it was a sketch. Sid Caesar was really committing to fear. He desperately was this guy who didn't want to be on This Is Your Life. So he's trying to get away and run away. He really committed to it, and that's what made it so funny. And that's what I loved.
This, Al, is your story.
And I was laughing, tears were coming down my face. And I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Consider yourself part of the family.
We decided to do a show that went for performance.
It's clear.
Most of my influences are not in late night shows, probably with the big exception of Carson.
Here's Johnny.
The quality that Johnny Carson had that I most admire, especially today, is the willingness of the host to look silly.
What are you doing with that marmoset on your head?
Johnny Carson would put on a Karnak hat. He would dress up like Reagan. He would go bare-chested. He would let Rickles dunk him in a hot tub with geisha girls. He would look silly. He would compromise his dignity. And in my opinion, that's what actually made him cool. He could do that, and you didn't feel bad for him, you just loved it. He had enough confidence in the fact that he was cool and that he was talented that he could put himself in just about any position. He'd be Aunt Blabby.
He'd dress up as an old woman. Not many talk show hosts are comfortable enough to dress up like an old woman. And, I mean, I dress up like a woman. It's not part of the show, but it's something which increasingly has helped me in my private life. I like really weird comedy, and I'd like to kind of write it and help shape it and present it and kind of be in some of it, but not all the time. I really love improvisation. I love talking.
That relationship's is it falling apart yet? What's going on?
Why, Conan?
Oh, I don't know.
There's just one job in the world where you get to dabble in all those different things and create your own world, your own little Pee-wee's Playhouse, and that's these late-night shows. And what we did is we built ourselves a perfect little place to hang out. It's a little clubhouse, and we televise it. And I'm paid hundreds of dollars a week to do it. I'm very grateful.
She has a gift for ditzy characters who may seem lightheaded or out of touch, but Lisa Kudrow brings intelligence and heart to every role she plays. The results are characters that America adores.
I sound amazing.
She's demonstrated her range in a string of successful roles, but continues to star in one of the sitcoms that has helped define the 90s sensibility, Friends.
Okay, thank you very much. My favorite thing on TV when I was really little was Bewitched. I just thought Elizabeth Montgomery was the most beautiful woman in the world. She was a witch. She can do anything. I loved that and really thought, because I was little, and really thought, yeah, it's possible. Maybe when I grow up, I could be a witch. That would be great, you know? And I had always really loved Lorraine Newman when I was young and watching Saturday Night Live. Everything she did, I thought was really grounded. Whatever her character is saying, it's some kind of reality for that character.
You made an alleged attempt on the president's life in September. Now, what made you decide to use such a strong political statement for the use of violence?
She was just doing what she knew to be true, it seemed, for whatever character she was playing.
You're French, so I'm going to give you a French kiss. How's that?
Oh, baby, oh, baby.
To me, what's funny is when things slip out of people's mouths that they're not aware of, that they've actually completely identified themselves in that moment.
I didn't do any of the romantic things I had planned, like having a picnic in Central Park and, you know, coffee at Central Perk. Oh, I just got that. Oh.
I like doing people who are unaware of how they're coming off.
Have we talked about the possibility of multiple births?
Why don't we just take care of this one, and should I get pregnant again, I'll hold on to your card, okay?
I think it's also stuff that you'd like to be able to express in, you know, in your everyday life, but it's not appropriate. Our own honest thoughts and feelings are mostly inappropriate.
Could you do me a favor?
Well, maybe on my lunch hour.
Everyone on the Mary Tyler Moore Show was hilarious, but my favorite was Betty White.
It's opportunity knocking again. I don't know what you two are laughing at, but I'll take a chance it's dirty.
That kind of passive-aggressive personality made me laugh so hard. I don't know, I always liked that, being really sweet. You know, having a really sweet face and saying things, and there's just, you know, the most horrible thing coming out.
Incidentally, Mary, do you mind if I invite someone else to the party Saturday night? Oh, you have a date? Oh, Mary, really, if I had a date, would I be coming to your party?
I think we're okay with inappropriate characters because they're honest. They're honest about what they're, you know, thinking and feeling.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet, so if you don't like it, well, so what? None of you ever made a video.
My favorite parts about Phoebe are when she says stuff that coming from any other person would be hurtful. But, you know, there's no ill will. It's just honest.
Oh, the cow in the meadow goes moo. Oh, the cow in the meadow goes moo. Then the farmer hits him on the head and grinds him up, and that's how we get hamburgers.
I think one of the great things about television is that you have to really know how to commit to something immediately and, you know, and not question what you're doing too much. There's no time for tentativeness.
Coming up, America's favorite yellow people without chins. Don't go away.
Here we go. Why, you little...
It's allergy season again. So what do doctors prescribe for itchy, watery allergy eyes like yours?
Patinol.
Patinol. More than any other prescription allergy eye drop?
Patinol.
Patinol works fast.
In just minutes.
And it lasts 8 hours. It really works.
Some people may experience headache, burning, or stinging. Take your contacts out before use.
Bye-bye, allergy eyes.
Patinol. Works in minutes. Lasts 8 hours.
Cats should not eat ice cream. My sister's too little to know this. So I taught her. I took her to PetSmart. Ken, the PetSmart guy, said cats need a healthy eating plan. He also told us about PetSmart.com, where there's lots of good cat stuff and information, too. It's not mean not to give your cat ice cream. It's tough love. PetSmart. It's where pets are family. This dumb itch.
Oh, those dirty nails.
He could be scratching to infection. You need improved Lanacane cream with antibacterial to help prevent infection. It's the only itch killer that's a germ killer, too. These can't kill germs. And Lanacane relieves itching faster, keeps working better than any hydrocortisone. Clinical tests prove it.
Hey, the itch is gone.
Lanacane, the only itch killer that's a germ killer, too. Also try new Lanacane First Aid Spray with antibacterial.
When I was fat, I was in this shell. I never wanted to go anywhere. I don't need to hide myself anymore. I lost over 50 pounds with the Slim Fast plan. I've kept it off for 5 years. I'm so full of life. I love to work out, and I drink a shake every day. Delicious. I will never go back.
23 vitamins and minerals, protein, calcium, fiber, all the balanced nutrition like a healthy meal.
I feel so good. Gosh, it's phenomenal.
Slim Fast every day. Balanced nutrition for a healthy life.
I love who I am now.
Also try new Genuine Bear Gel Caps, the only gel cap that can help save your life. New Bear Gel Caps, powerful pain relief, and so much more.
This is not happening.
Well, I had a little partner trouble of my own.
Besides being a damn good attorney, I play very dirty.
Messenger this over to Alan Riley's office and tell them not to spill it. Dead dog inside.
This is my company, and this is my bathroom.
Thank you, Lord, for these hours we are about to bill.
It'll be good working with you.
Family Law, CBS Monday this fall.
The Simpsons is the longest-running prime-time animated series in television history, and one of its most honored. Wildly funny, heartfelt at times, always deeply written, it delivers solid messages about family and society without sacrificing any of its wickedly satirical edge. And as its creator, Matt Groening, says, it rewards you for paying attention. We first met them on The Tracy Ullman Show in 1987.
Ay, caramba!
They had yellow skin, bug eyes, and no chins. A kind of sitcom nuclear family in meltdown.
Why, you little...
They were created by a little-known cartoonist and launched by producer James L. Brooks. But the Springfield of The Simpsons has its roots deeper in American television than The Tracy Ullman Show.
By George, it looks like a fine day for a trip.
There was once an equally memorable Springfield where another nuclear family lived their lives 1/2 hour at a time while America watched.
Well, you and Mom never get sore at each other. Well, almost never.
What do Earl's folks do that we don't do?
They fight.
In the 1950s and early 60s, when I was really obsessed by television and really warped by it, you know, I watched every night. I watched all the shows. I watched Ozzie and Harriet and Father Knows Best and Leave It to Beaver. And there were all these great TV dads. There were two types, basically. There was the uptight ramrod dad, you know, every hair in place, wearing ties all the time. You know, wearing ties to bed, I think.
Looks kind of nice.
There were the fathers that really knew the lesson to be given. Father knows best. Ward Cleaver knew best.
As you go through life, try to improve yourself, not prove yourself.
Hi, fellas.
But then Ozzie and Harriet. Ozzie really didn't know best.
Oh, that's a darn shame.
If you look at those old Ozzie shows, he's always going like this. Rick, I don't know where I am. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, gee, I don't know. Because I
mean, these were middle-aged men who were just sort of confused by life. And I always thought that was that's how I felt. I could relate to that, and that's what I tried to do with Homer Simpson.
Butt kisser.
Bart, you're saying butt kisser like it's a bad thing.
Huh?
When Homer Simpson pats his knee and says, "Come here, boy, sit on my knee, I want to tell you a little story," you know that the lesson that he's about to impart is wrong.
Never hurts to grease the wheels a little.
It's wrong. Don't be like Homer Simpson.
You see how it works, Bart? A cupcake here, a good grade there.
Dad, I get good grades because I'm smart and I pay attention and I study hard.
Yeah, right, Lisa.
There was one specific show when I was a kid that I was so excited about, reading in TV Guide, you know, coming this fall, Dennis the Menace. I was so excited. A kid who was a menace. And then the pilot, the first episode, he comes out and he's a tornado. It's animated, the opening film. Comes out, I'm going, oh boy, finally. Finally, there's a kid that I can relate to on TV. And then it was Jay North.
You got your foot in the paint, Mr. Wilson.
And it's supposed to be kind of mischievous, but it was very, very mild. And also, Leave It to Beaver.
Gee, Wally, I don't know why you guys would want to go spoil a neat party for by having girls.
He was a good kid, but he was just like, gee, Wally, I don't know. The character I really liked on Leave It to Beaver was Eddie Haskell.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
That's all right, Eddie.
He was the bad kid, you know, and he got away with stuff, and I really liked that.
Well, I hope I didn't interrupt whatever you were peeking at.
We were peeking at Beaver, Eddie.
Oh.
And I thought, Eddie Haskell should have his own show. And when I grow up, I'm going to do my own show. And it's going to star Eddie Haskell, or a version thereof. Hence Bart Simpson.
Here are some words of wisdom from Mr. Know-It-All.
I suppose the biggest, most important animated show for me growing up was Rocky and Bullwinkle. I mean, here is a show where the writing was fantastic, the voices were fantastic.
Buenos dias, señores.
The music was great, but the animation, not so good.
What's this all about, Mr. Peabody?
But it didn't matter. You didn't care because the characters were so funny and the writing was so brilliant.
What we need is a good hiccup doctor.
Allow me to introducing myself.
Who are you?
I'm the ship's medical officer.
Ship's doc?
Of course they do.
One of the other great things about Rocky and Bullwinkle is that was a cartoon that my parents could stand to watch. And that's one thing I try to do on The Simpsons is do a cartoon that the whole family can watch. I mean, little kids who can't read like it because Bart hits people on the head with a hammer, and older people like it because Homer drinks beer.
Oh, stupid fingers.
I don't know. No, because, you know, there's some more sophisticated references.
I could pull a better cartoon out of my ass. Hey, whoa! Wasn't that great, kids?
The writers should be ashamed of themselves. Cartoons have writers? Sort of.
Anytime you have entertainment involving children, for children, or featuring children, people get very uptight. You know, the very, very narrow constrictions. And the fact is, childhood is light and dark. There's a lot of great things about childhood, and there's a lot of bad things about childhood. And Bart addresses some of the darker parts of childhood.
Tonight's homework assignment is...
Oh, man, is it hot in here? I'd better take off my sweater.
Down with... homework?
Bart, for me, is just the kid that I always wanted to see on TV that I never did see on TV. I mean, if you're a kid in class, you know that the most interesting kid is the kid over in the corner shooting rubber bands and you know, dropping encyclopedias out the window. That's where Bart is. Bart's the kid who refuses to be bored, and I can relate to that.
When we return, Fran Drescher and Jenna Elfman. And still to come, Dennis Franz, David Duchovny, and more. Don't go away.
Time to get washed. Daddy's almost home. Honey, can you wash your feet? Hey, I hear Daddy.
Hey, guys! Hi.
Hey, honey.
Okay, let's eat.
Hey, where are the fries?
What, no fries? I can't believe Daddy forgot the fries. I'll go get some more. Some.
Hurry back. Fry breath.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
Get back to school. Get back to Sears. This week only, all nylon pants are on sale. All guys, sizes, and styles. All kids, too. Get back to school. Get back to Sears.
Oh, Kitty! Someone refill that Glade plug-in.
For lasting freshness, don't forget to refill your Glade plug-ins.
Plug it in, plug it in.
Mom, it's only a scrape.
I thought this was too.
Oh, a scar.
Treating scrapes with Neosporin helps prevent infection and now helps minimize the appearance of scars. Use Neosporin every cut, every time.
Most head lice treatments will kill lice and eggs, but only Nix with permethrin continues to protect your child against reinfestation for 14 days. Nix kills lice and keeps them from coming back. Nix 'em.
Ever try running with an ordinary pad? When I first started running, that was not something I would have wanted to do. But now I use Always with Flexi Wings that help protect me from side to side. They wrap around so smoothly and flex when I move. Besides, my underwear are more protected than they were with my ordinary maxi, and the wings help my pad stay in place so much better than before, whether I'm running uphill or running downhill. I love running downhill.
Are you ready?
Always with Flexi Wings. Better protection.
Monday. Two kings are better than one. Catch the King of Queens at its regular time and a bonus episode right after Everybody Loves Raymond. Then, America's #1 Pilgrim comedy proves some things never change.
How come whenever you wash your horse, then it rains?
And all new things. And Raymond wins Best Comedy from the viewers for quality television.
She's your wife. She's not going to humiliate you.
I don't have time to explain marriage to you.
Raymond, followed by a bonus episode of The King of Queens, CBS Monday.
If you seek to please your eyes, but neglect what can't be seen, you'll always be looking for something more. If you want to make strides, but can't stand still, you'll just go round in circles. If you drive a performance coupe, but do it only for fashion, you're not driving a CL from Acura.
Evelyn Williams has a house full this weekend, and ShopRite's helping her prepare a memorable dinner. Our produce is delivered daily, so her green bean casserole is bursting with flavor. Our apple cobbler even rivals Grandma Nadler's, all at our low prices.
Right now, a lot of the merchandise at Linens and Things has been significantly reduced. Get 25 to 70% off at the Linens and Things clearance sale. The latest on Hurricane Dennis, plus the Skytrack 2000 forecast.
46 Emmy nominations. America's #1 network, CBS.
There are two women who dominate the world of television comedy, Lucille Ball and Carol Burnett. Inspired clowns, gifted comic performers, like all good comedians, they were at heart deeply serious actors. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz created the three-camera sitcom form and arguably the most beloved comedy series of all time. Carol Burnett brought sketch comedy to a high art and remains one of the medium's most versatile actors in drama or comedy. Here are two of today's funniest ladies to talk about these two great performers and their impact on their own work. She has one of the most famous whines in television.
Hello, Ma.
And created, with her partner Peter Jacobson, one of its top-rated sitcoms, The Nanny. Taking a page from Lucy's book, Fran Drescher was determined to make Fran Fine both the clown and the centerpiece of the series.
Thank you, Niall.
And she succeeded brilliantly.
Hello.
I watch TV constantly. As soon as I came home, I turned the TV on and it just never shut off. And I had to fall asleep to the TV. I was constantly watching television all the time.
The Lucy Ricardo Show! Da-da-da-da-da-da!
I don't think this is such a hot show, Fred. I think I'll get another station.
I remember one time I was homesick and my mother was taking my temperature and I was lying on the couch in the living room watching the TV and I said to her, "Can Lucy see me?" Because then I was like a little embarrassed. But I really thought that, you know, like they could look through the TV and see everybody.
A dumb girl.
I love those old early 60s, late 50s shows, Father Knows Best, My Three Sons, and then the more contemporary shows like The Partridge Family and That Girl with Marlo Thomas.
How would you like to appear on network television in front of 30 million people?
As what?
As Anne-Marie, bright, lovely, and charming.
Anne-Marie! I grew up and I wanted to be her so badly.
Oh, that's lovely.
I loved her makeup, I loved her hair, and every show started out with somebody saying, "No, that girl."
Hi, Donald.
That girl.
I'd never forget that girl.
I wanted to be that girl.
Tell me, Mrs. Ricardo, have you ever considered acting?
Has she ever considered acting?
But I love Lucy.
The calla lilies are in bloom again. Really, they are.
Very nice, very nice.
She was beautiful, but, you know, she was also very comedic and physical with her comedy, and I thought, you know, that's the way to be if you're gonna star in your own television show.
Here she comes. Madame, the leg down. Abba, 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 abba.
The thing that I think is the most noteworthy is that she drove the story, but yet she was also the clown. Recently, I saw that show where she sets her nose on fire. And I didn't know all the years that I watched it when I was a kid, but that was actually like a mistake. And the nose actually went up on fire, and she didn't break character or anything. She just really casually just dipped her nose in her cup of tea. And, you know, and then it sort of like sizzled off. Excuse me, I need a doctor.
What are your symptoms?
I'm 30 and single.
That's funny. 30.
In television, if you're lucky enough to be in the position that I'm in, you're hands-on a lot of different things. I knew that I had a great understanding of what made my comedy work, my brand of comedy. And so coming up with something that would suit me really well, I think is a very necessary component to having a hit series.
What are you doing?
Well, I have no idea.
Shave him for surgery.
Well, where do you want me to shave him?
Oh.
I might have picked that up from watching so much Lucille Ball, you know, because she was just the queen of that.
Lucy kisses like no one can. She's my missus and I'm her man. And life is heaven, you see. 'Cause I love Lucy, yes, I love Lucy. And Lucy
She's one of the brightest new talents in comedy and is the star of one of television's most romantic culture clashes, Dharma and Greg. Jenna Elfman has that rare spark that brings a character vividly to life. And, like Carol Burnett, she does it with irresistible, effervescent charm and a warmth that is straight from the heart.
I definitely look forward to the Brady Bunch. It's like if you put a hot, steaming chocolate chip cookie in front of me, that's how excited I got about the Brady Bunch. Like, the Brady Bunch is on.
Well, Mom? Yes, Marcia? You can have your slumber party.
So even now, if I, like, find Brady Bunches on, it's like I found a gold mine. I don't know why, I just love that show.
Alice, what do you call this?
Paradise, remember? Your detergent's no good. What you need is Wish. Here we go. Close it. Turn it on. That's it. And see what we have here.
That's wonderful. How'd you do that?
Switch shirts.
I'm not sure how old I was, but I have all these very pleasurable memories of sitting there eating my bologna or liverwurst sandwich and watching the Carol Burnett show.
What brings you to Tara?
You vixen, you. Starlet, I love you. That gown is gorgeous.
Thank you. I saw it in the window and I just couldn't resist it.
I related to her for some reason. I saw someone who was having a really good time. I saw someone who's just every cell in her body was supposed to be there. She did have a warmth and a sweetness that was just there.
Is this a repeat show? No, I'm here.
She was just a human being standing on the stage talking, and all the people were just watching her like they watch Oprah or like they watch Rosie O'Donnell, you know? They're just... And then she'd do her comedy and, it's like she'd put a different hat on. But it was a hat that was her, you know?
How many spaces did you move it?
Well, how the hell should I know?
You mean you don't remember how many spaces you moved that thing just a second ago?
Well, I guess I'm just too stupid ever to grab the goddamn dice up the pants.
Why the hell was I supposed to know you were going to move the wrong man?
All right. Now, just stop it. I know what it was. It was a 7. Are you sure? It was a 7!
Carol Burnett and Vicki Lawrence, they would become these characters and relish, and were having so much fun relishing in the beingness of that character.
Well, Eunice seems to be of the opinion that it was a 7. So I will just move the yellow man back 7 spaces. Then I will move my blue man ahead 7 spaces, landing on your green man, sending him back.
When they would crack each other up, they were totally human. That's another, like, the yummy cookie to me. It's like that's what I would wait for. I would on my edge of the seat for them to make each other laugh.
I was at this freak show one time and I saw these Siamese elephants. There was a joint at the end of their trunks like that. And this trainer would make them stand up on their back feet like that, and they had their trunks stretched like that. I kind of felt sorry for them. They couldn't go like the other elephants when they go. All they could do is just low and go north.
Oh, Mama.
You sure that little ass through yet?
It makes us happy for them that they're enjoying it as much as we are. And they're the source of it, you know? I think that's probably the big appeal.
Here's your mineral water.
Wow, mineral water!
Isn't this what you ordered?
Why did I seem surprised?
Yes.
Well, I wasn't. I was acting.
I left L.A. to get away from you people.
My goal is to have people have as much fun as I'm having. And I love to have fun, and I'm having fun at what I do. And I think if you're really having fun, people are gonna have fun too.
Hey, Greg, what do you think we would have done if we hadn't run off and gotten married?
I don't know. Had a second date?
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm glad we went for it, because now every moment with you is like, wow, surprise!
You don't turn in anything unpleasant, do you?
Was that supposed to be a joke?
Yeah.
Well, it's not funny.
Would it be trippy if I was really like that?
It's a communication. It's a cycle of communication. You put out, and then they receive it, and then they process it, and they respond back. And I think that's why I love doing television, because you can really reach people. It's cool.
I'm so glad we had this time together. Just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Good night.
When we come back, Television Cops, Dennis Franz, NYPD Blue, and the world of Stephen Bochco.
I think it's the best time in the world to be a cherry, because now they can top Jell-O pudding sundaes. Cool vanilla, smothered with rich chocolate fudge or caramel pudding. These new Jell-O sundaes, they're really gonna go places.
Jell-O, smile more.
My neighbor works at Post on a cereal that actually keeps kids quiet. It's got brown sugar inside, frosting outside. Post frosted shredded wheat.
Oh, man! Hi, Roger.
Heard you're out.
It's payback time. The power has shifted. The 99 Honda clearance is here. Now you're in control. The 99 Honda clearance. Don't you just love it when you win?
My mama told me you better shop around.
Even if you don't have tons of cash, you can still get lots of great new clothes. Terrific shoes, too. This stuff is the coolest. All you gotta do is hit the store where you always see more stuff and save more money on the best. Burlington Coat Factory. They are definitely more than great coats.
My mama told me you better shop around.
There's a new technology taking shape. Smart Vacs by Eureka. Models with dirt alerts find embedded dirt in your carpets. Others with true HEPA-sealed filtration filter better than any other upright. Smart features, smart prices. Smart Vacs by Eureka.
Do you experience vaginal dryness and need moisture? Vagisil Intimate Moisturizer is like bringing back your own natural moisture with natural aloe and soothing chamomile. Gentle enough to use every day. Vagisil Intimate Moisturizer.
Can you believe this hair color is 33 days old? No kidding. No touch-ups. It's new Superior Preference from L'Oreal. The color I love just got better. Only Superior Preference has continual color and conditioning. The first fade-resistant color that stays continually true. And now with weekly conditioning treatments right in the box. For soft, shiny, superior color. From the day I color to the day I color. 33 days and counting. New Superior Preference from L'Oreal Paris. Because I'm worth it.
The government has just placed the mind of an average guy in the perfectly engineered body. Now he can go anywhere. He can do anything. But all he wants...
Miss my wife and my daughter.
...is what he had before.
You reaching out to anyone from your past guarantees your immediate death and the death of whomever you confided in.
Hello?
Lacey.
Now and again, CBS Friday this fall.
See you. We need you and you. It's September.
Get back, man. We're going to give them a lot of cheer about this season.
Hey! Here, fellas! We're number one!
Number one, baby!
One more time! Yeah! We'll see you in September!
Shows like ER, Law and Order, The Practice, NYPD Blue are demonstrating just how good drama on television can be. This new language of the television drama, ensemble casts, multiple storylines, gritty realism, started with one landmark show in the 1980s. It brought a new complexity to storytelling as well as innovative visual techniques and a challenging approach to content that paved the way for the great one-hour dramas we admire today. One of the men who created it remains one of the medium's most dominant forces.
Say, kids, what time is it?
I think the first thing I ever saw on television was Howdy Doody. The shows I came to appreciate some years later, I think now are commonly referred to as a golden age of television. Studio One, Playhouse 90, the great anthological drama shows spawned a generation of extraordinary film writers. Reginald Rose and Paddy Chayefsky and Requiem for Heavyweight. I mean, all of these wonderful, wonderful writers who wrote for television.
Why did you bet against me? Would it make any difference, kid? If I hocked my left foot and betted on you, would it make any difference? You're not a winner anymore. There's only one thing left. Make a little on the losing. Fink. You dirty Fink, Mace. You dirty, lousy Fink.
In many ways, Rod Serling was a role model for a lot of us. He was a brilliant storyteller and a very, very good writer, and was uniquely suited to the television medium.
Nan Adams, age 27. She was driving to California, to Los Angeles. She didn't make it. There was a detour through the Twilight Zone.
It's a bit of a tapestry, and the cumulative impact of all of that drama I was able to absorb through television over the earlier part of my life, I'm sure had a profound impact on what I do today.
Believe me, I know just how you feel.
Dubrowski, I don't even know how I feel.
Columbo was a remarkable show because it broke all the conventions of the genre. There was not a bit of action. There was zero jeopardy. You saw the crime committed. You knew who the perpetrator was from the very beginning. And you never even saw Columbo until after you had seen this entire crime being committed.
Uncle, you're gonna get a real charge out of this.
Dick Levinson and Bill Link, who were the creators and executive producers of that show and two of my earliest mentors, taught me the value of doing something different and then fighting for it with everything you've got to preserve its integrity. We agreed to do Hill Street on the condition that they absolutely leave us alone to just come up with whatever we come up with.
Don't do it. No biting. No biting, man.
When you're making a television show with 11 or 12 primary characters, it's a great opportunity as a writer to tell more stories in a season than most shows would ever tell in their lifetimes. But I think what we ultimately developed was the essential reality of police work.
Come on, God. Kick it in. Kick it! Hey, William! Oh, God!
All right, he's dead. Still alive.
All right, get a unit for this one!
Okay,
just get a unit for this one!
I'm not sure that the characters in Hill Street Blues were so much a function of their predecessors in the TV culture. They were a rejection of the predecessors on all those cop shows. We just wanted to do something different.
I want you to come to me, William. Come on, Jan. Attaboy. Please, William. Come on.
We didn't think about it. We didn't have a master plan. We just sort of did it. And we did it by the seat of our pants. We didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Hey, let's be careful out here.
He's taken a cynical, battle-fatigued cop and turned him into one of the most subtly detailed characters on television. Andy Sipowicz is a cop who is flawed, passionate, explosive, and fiercely real.
Get back!
Dennis Franz brings this turbulent character to life with seemingly effortless ease and has played a major role in reshaping our idea of what the television cop is and in showing us the dark corners of character where the one-hour drama can take us.
Get away from me, Kelly, or so help me, I'll clean your clock.
He's not allowed to take the set upstairs because I flipped him a coin and the set stays down here.
That's right, Alf. When we flipped the coin, he won. He said, heads, I win, tails, you lose. And it was tails, and I lost. He won.
Don't look at me like that. I learned that trick from you. That's how we got married.
Most people knew characters like Jackie Gleason. We had him in our neighborhoods, and he didn't profess to be anything different than that. He was so big and so full of life, and he was funny but sympathetic at times. And I might have unconsciously, somewhere back then, made a mental note that that's not a bad guy to emulate. The way he would relate to his wife and boom, zoom to the moon, Alice, you know, I mean, all that is so politically incorrect now. And yet it was great, and we know what it was meant. I mean, the guy was a pussycat underneath it, and yet he vented all this rage, this frustration, but you could just blow him over with a feather, you know.
Baby, you're the greatest.
The first police drama I became aware of, probably police shows with Dragnet. Jack Webb sort of represented, in my mind, at that age, what policemen were about. They had no life. They were just these cops. They were these one-dimensional cops that asked the same questions all the time.
What's this, sir? In that scramble here in the lobby, that little box fell out of one of the kids' pockets. Have a look inside. Right. Uh-huh. I don't know too much about it, Sergeant, but I don't think I made a mistake.
Yeah?
What do you think?
No, sir, it's no mistake. Marijuana.
But I thought Kojak was pretty wonderful.
Jerry Talaba. 2 arrests for armed robbery, 2 for assault and attempted murder. John Mersey. Convicted of double homicide at the age of 15, spent 6 years in a hospital for the criminally insane. Now, who asked the question whether they're capable of killing those hostages? Any more questions?
I remember when I was watching that, I thought, here's an interesting group of characters. Suddenly made me feel like they weren't so artificial.
Look, pussycat, you garbage. How to stick your mouth in a light socket.
This face, this mug, have Telly Savalas to thank for not being afraid of somebody who is not picture perfect becoming a leading man with his appearance, with his shaved head and this, you know, I mean, he is not exactly a chiseled human being, you know. Nor is Sipowicz.
Hey, ipsa this, you pissy little bitch.
Stephen Bochco and David Milch together, when they created NYPD Blue, they said, we are going to tell a story to adults about adults by adults. And we're going to do it as realistically as possible within the framework that we are allowed to tell it.
They're killing me, Lois.
I know, baby.
They try to make you feel like 2 cents.
Come on, baby. Come to Mama.
I think a lot of people may identify with Andy Sipowicz because, like Jackie Gleason and Carol O'Connor in All in the Family, they represented every man, middle-class, blue-collar kind of a worker, the trials and tribulations of just getting by.
Leanne, hurt me twice.
A lot of people saw themselves in the old Honeymooners character, and there was an Archie Bunker in every neighborhood. And I think there's a Sipowicz in every police department.
Look, Detective Sipowicz, whatever your prejudices may be about Raymond Martirano, this is a father who just lost his eldest son.
Hey, Lawyer Fox, you want me to give up some name so your client can kick ass in the streets and kill another innocent bystander? You tell Mr. Martirano I'm sorry for his loss, and he will get the cooperation that he gives.
I'll report our conversation.
And I'll go back to work.
I think we have to see characters a bit more realistically and flawed and not as perfect, not as one-dimensional as the characters that we saw in Dragnet.
Here, you big ape. You want some dessert, huh? It's here, bud. Have a sock for dessert. Have one of the socks I can't afford to change.
Come on, line 'em up.
Our show deals with the impact of that kind of a job, how it has on their home life, on their own sanity, and how they keep themselves together.
Oh, for God's sake, I haven't had a drink in 63 days.
You going to 12-step meetings?
I'm doing this my own way.
How? Sitting at home in front of your TV with your fingers digging into your sofa? There's a difference between dry and sober.
Hey, look. I just want to be able to do my job, huh?
I think the fact that our show is successful now, and it was successful almost immediately, proves the point that Stephen Bochco, David Milch were correct, that there is certainly an adult audience out there that is asking to be challenged.
You nutball, check inside.
When we come back, David Duchovny, Christine Lottie, and Dylan McDermott.
Hi there. Oh, thank you. And here are the keys for your Century test drive.
It's a nice-looking Century, but we're going on vacation.
I'm all packed.
It's a nice ride.
It's got standard traction control. Your Camry LE doesn't have that, does it, Sally? Huh? You know Century has the highest owner loyalty in its class?
Yeah.
Did not.
Did too.
Did not. Oh, Century's got V6 power standard. And to your left, there's never been a better time to zero in on a Buick with 0% APR GMAC financing or $1,500 cash back on Century.
You know what I like most about this car?
The headroom.
Ah, the toddler years. A time of wonderment.
Bubbles!
A time of discovery.
I crushed Dolly's hair.
A time for a brand new shampoo. Johnson's Baby Shampoo Detangling Formula. Now in a gel. The gel is easier to control, even when your toddler isn't. And the built-in detangler makes combing easy. Welcome to toddlerhood and new Johnson's Baby Shampoo Detangling Formula Gel.
Now we both look pretty.
The look. Look who? J.C. Penney. The look. Look who? J.C. Penney.
I'm a cop. I've got to be in good shape. And I've got to have a lot of energy. Working out is key. But what really helps me is Slim Fast. I've been having a shake for lunch almost every day for the past 9 years. It's quick, it's easy, it's satisfying. Slim Fast is healthy for you. It gives me what I need.
Vitamins, minerals, protein, carbs. It's great nutrition.
I have more endurance during my workout, more stamina. It's my energy drink. It makes me feel great. I love it.
Slim Fast every day. Balanced nutrition for a healthy life.
It works for me. It can work for you.
Hi there. Oh, thank you. And here are the keys for your Century test drive.
It's a nice-looking Century, but we're going on vacation.
I'm all packed.
Nice ride.
Yeah, it's got standard traction control. Your Camry LE doesn't have that, does it, Sally? Huh? And to your left, there's never been a better time to zero in on a Buick with 0% APR GMAC financing on Century. Or lease a Century for just $289 a month for 36 months with 0 down and 0 due at lease signing. Call for lease details.
You know what I like most about this car?
The headroom.
When you look at the cost of raising a family today, just making it is quite an accomplishment. But if you're a homeowner behind on your bills, Champion's Clean Slate program can mean the difference between getting by and getting ahead. Clean Slate can reduce your monthly payments by as much as half. It's a chance to breathe, a chance to save, a chance to make your life more livable. Call 1-800-CHAMPION for details. Isn't today a great day for a new beginning? When your bank says no, Champion says yes.
Get to Levitt's pre-Labor Day sale and make no down payment, no monthly payments, and pay no finance charges for 1 full year. Find great values on Levitt's Rooms for Less room packages. Fabulous 2, 3, or 5-piece groups. Over 100 groups to choose from. The more you buy, the more you save. And all in-stock merchandise is available for pickup or convenient delivery. Hurry to Levitt's for great pre-Labor Day savings and make no down payment, no monthly payments, and pay no finance charges for 1 full year. There's no reason not to buy. Going on now at Levitt's.
Martin Short gets a show. Wow! September 13th on CBS 2.
Dave's in Miami with Glenn Close tonight on CBS.
Until not too long ago, dramatic series were built around a single character who was both star and hero. You never saw their private life. You never saw their flaws. They always won, and after 1 hour of tough work, the bad guy was caught, the client was found innocent, or the operation was a success. It's not that way anymore. Television, like its audience, has moved into more sophisticated territory. We still want our heroes, but we want them more like us. Imperfect, struggling to do the right thing, but not always winning, looking for answers, but not always finding them. David Duchovny is an actor who's made an indelible mark on the medium as a man looking for answers. No! He's an actor of subtle intensity who, in the shadowy, mysterious world of The X-Files, has captured our imaginations with his powerful portrayal of a man determined to unravel a dark puzzle of global proportions.
Listen to me, Scully. This thing exists.
But how do you
The government knows about it. And I gotta know what they're protecting. Nothing else matters to me. And this is as close as I've ever gotten to it. There's this show that I used to watch when I was about 16 called James at 16, which I think was probably like my so-called life for kids of this era. It took place in Boston, and it was kind of like the life of the 16-year-old, his emotional life, which, wasn't dealt with on TV that much, that age. You had the Brady Bunch, which wasn't, real. I mean, this seemed to be more real. Like James had the problems, the girl problems, teacher problems that I had.
My group meets every evening before sundown. Why don't you join us?
Well, I don't know. I got loads of homework.
Come tonight, and we'll learn to love together.
Love together?
I wanted to see what was going on with James, and there was a kind of excitement that, maybe somebody is thinking about what I'm going through out there, beaming it into me through this box. My mother being Scottish, we watched a lot of Monty Python. They were wise asses, just off the wall. It wasn't like a normal television show. It didn't play by any of the rules.
I can see nothing wrong with one healthy man beating the living daylights out of a little schoolgirl.
The English are very funny because they have the vulgar humor and the intellectual humor, and here's Monty Python like putting them together for me. And I loved to be scared when I was a kid. Saturday afternoon, I used to watch some TV, so I'd watch Twilight Zone sci-fi. We all love that. There was one, I think it was Agnes Moorehead. This was a real spooky one for me. She's being harassed by these tiny little spacemen. And, you're really pulling for her. She's this woman alone living in like a farmhouse, and you can't believe these little spacemen are trying to hurt her. And you're pulling for her to crush them, and then right before she does, you find out that they're actually humans, and she's some huge space alien living on some other planet. I like the idea of being scared. I like the idea of other worlds, I guess. It all seems to kind of segue nicely into what I do now, but I wasn't a science fiction fan. I like spooky stuff. I think that The X-Files strives to mark a place in the real world, whereas The Twilight Zone, by its very definition, is the Twilight Zone. We're going out of the real world and we're entering into the Twilight Zone. And what The X-Files tries to do is kind of bring that stuff into the real world and react to it as humanly as possible. If it's not human, what is it?
It's mammalian.
My guess is it's a chimpanzee or something from the ape family.
Buried in the city cemetery, in Ray Soames's grave.
I think when our show works best, you know, it's like two worlds colliding, like Hill Street Blues.
You're saying I'm finished, aren't you?
If I have anything to say about it, you are.
I think Hill Street Blues had very realistic acting for television. Now, looking back, I guess that's the kind of acting that I'm drawn to in my own work, and I feel like actually that makes good sense with the X-Files, because the X-Files, by its nature, is very highly dramatic. It's science fiction, and it's improbable. And to have a realistic acting style undercutting that, I think that's an interesting thing for television.
What are you gonna do?
I'm not gonna give up. I can't give up. Not as long as the truth is out there.
Christine Lottie is one of television's most esteemed dramatic actors. In Dr. Catherine Austin, she's created a complex and multidimensional character that is emblematic of the new kind of television hero. A woman who is not afraid to fail or to grow, and who represents a significant departure from the doctor heroes of television's past.
I really looked up to Annette Funicello. She was, to me, the greatest. She was seemingly independent and bright and spirited in a land where most women on television were kind of tamed and kind of passive. And Mary Tyler Moore, of course, was a big influence for me. She wasn't somebody's girlfriend or somebody's wife or somebody's mother. She was a person. And the show was about her struggles with everything.
Mr. Grant, really, I've just never been any good at exerting authority. I mean, they're probably not even going to listen to me.
What'd you say?
Thank
you. Cigarette?
No, thanks. Gonna smoke.
Oh.
I never have, really. I mean, even before all the new evidence about smoking came out, I never did. I was always afraid it would stunt my...
Everything in my life I've strived to do with my work is to say that women are not second-class citizens. Hey, Billy, you mind closing for me?
No problem, kitty.
Excuse me?
What?
What'd you call me?
Called you kitty.
It's Kate.
All right.
It'll never be Kitty.
My mistake.
The medical shows that I remember, Dr. Kildare never lost a patient.
The landlady found her on the floor in her apartment. Is she going to make it?
Most of these 5 cases do.
He was always so heroic, and I just remember all these visions of these teary-eyed patients thanking him for saving their lives. You know, he would just smile warmly and serenely and godlike.
This is the big morning, huh?
I'm going to have my appendicitis out.
Well, you know, Kate Austin has lost a few patients. In fact, my dad was a surgeon, and he was perfect. He was God. Doctors were always gods. And he said, well, you know, you're doing a really good job, but couldn't you try to save a few more lives?
Air got into the vessel, and that caused the cerebral embolism. A Kelly clamp is probably still in that patient.
Oh, wait a second, guys. We're talking about a 6-inch piece of metal here. I mean, we would have seen it.
Where'd you position it?
Behind the heart and lung.
Well, then you wouldn't have seen it unless you went looking for it.
I don't know. I guess I never really bought the perfection of these guys. And I was never as intrigued by any character on television that wasn't flawed somehow, that wasn't more human.
We made the right call. What choice do we have but to think so?
When I was growing up, I had a lot of heroes, but they weren't very real. And they might inspire me, but they weren't people I could really identify with. What I think is cool about Austin is that maybe some little girls are watching her and think, hey, I guess I could be chief of surgery. I guess that's possible for a woman. Television plays a really influential and important role in our lives. So I just think that we should put out positive role models and, you know, stories that are honest. You should be accountable for what you're putting out in the world.
In David Kelly's The Practice, Dylan McDermott has redefined the classic image of the cool, detached hero.
Thank you. That was an honest answer.
In Bobby Donnell, he's added a new dimension of both vulnerability and accountability. He's created a character that has to pay the consequences for his actions and to struggle with issues that the television heroes of McDermott's youth never had to face.
For me, growing up, television was like my babysitter because there was like nobody around, so they put me in front of the television, and it kind of became my escape in a way from the reality that was happening. The Brady Bunch, I Dream of Jeannie, Lands of the Giants, Mannix, Hawaii Five-0, The Fugitive, those were like my mainstays. It all seemed like reality. I think for most people, they believe what's happening on television. So for me, I was certainly like that. I believed that the Brady Bunch was the Brady Bunch and that David Jansen was really on the run.
Our pictures in every police station in the country. Right now, they might just be realizing who James Lincoln really is. A convicted murderer.
I kind of grew up like that, sort of the loner, and that kind of just tapped into my escapism.
I keep running and they keep hunting.
I think my influence on television primarily were actors, like Robert Blake on Beretta.
Wake up and die, tough guy.
He was a loner, he was a detective, and he had this parrot. He just kind of spoke to me, certainly, as a kid.
Now, all three of you dummies do exactly what I tell you to, or I'm gonna splatter his brains on that back seat.
He had this kind of anti-heroism about him that certainly tapped into where I came from. It was like Clint Eastwood and Rawhide, that same kind of ethic that he had, you know, in his character.
Slap that horse out from under him now. Hear what I said now?
You just touch that horse, mister. You just try and touch it.
I think the difference is those guys really did have the answer in a way, and how television has grown up, or how my character has grown up, is that I don't have the answer. Got to make headway. That's the part I haven't figured out yet.
You are scared.
You think it's tough defending the guilty, Lindsay? Try the innocent. It's terrifying. I think that audiences really want to see real people. I mean, all the shows that you see on the air, ER and Law and Order and The Practice are all about real people.
I know you've heard this before, but I'm a fan of yours. My name is Perry Mason.
The attorney.
I think that lawyers were heroes for many years, certainly on television. In Perry Mason's time, there was always a verdict that his client got off in the end, but somehow we never got sick of that.
Why did you destroy Harry Merrill's registry card?
I didn't. He didn't sign one.
I always watched it, and I always felt like, wow, you know, he did it again.
Your Honor?
I think that's enough, Mr. Mason. The case against Evelyn Bagby is dismissed.
Oh, Mr. Mason, I'm so grateful.
Because he was set up in such a heroic light that got into people's consciousness, you know, that he was a winner, he did win, the law was good. I think that's the essence of The Practice and the essence of my character, too. But I think that that's draped with a lot of ambiguity.
Bobby, you are so very above all this, aren't you? I wish that I could tread on your moral high ground.
Get out of my face, Len.
No, because you get them off just the same as I do.
Yeah, but I don't have as much fun.
Yeah, but you do it just the same, don't you, Bobby?
I said get out of my face. I think that's the brilliance of David Kelly. He's brought us into this really messy world of not knowing the answer, of being a defense lawyer, of representing criminals, of people who have killed other people, who have raped other people, and a defense attorney has to represent them. You do live with the corruption of getting people off that you know are guilty. You want to know why I do it? That's why. Because every once in a while, you get one. An innocent person. And it becomes up to me to fight their fight. Television, because you are going into people's homes, they feel that they know you. Thank you. People really enjoy the show and they enjoy the character. And that's a rewarding thing to have that happen on a daily basis where people kind of believe in you in a way.
Coming up, Gary Shandling and Ellen DeGeneres when we return.
I'm concerned about my cholesterol.
got a bite. Cutting back on junk food. Fortunately, my wife Joy discovered a new spread called Take Control. Take Control helps promote my healthy cholesterol levels, and it's delicious.
New Take Control.
There's a body wash that does more than just moisturize. Only New Dove Nutrium has a separate nourishing lotion with vitamin E for skin that's soft and more nourished than with any other body wash.
There is a minute in each morning where the day is fresh and ripe with possibility. A minute where you stand tall before the day, drink it all in, and say to yourself, today, the deep end. That minute was made for Minute Maid. A taste as fresh and ripe as morning itself. Drink in 100% Minute Maid Premium and squeeze the day.
You recognize this? Sure you do. It's $1. You want to know why George Washington looks so ticked off? It's because he remembers when a buck was worth something. Nowadays, you're lucky if you can buy a pair of used socks at a garage sale for under $1. Well, cheer up, Georgie boy. At least you can get all your long-distance calls for only 99 cents.
That's right. Just dial 1010-220, and all calls up to 20 minutes are only 99 cents. And just 9 cents a minute after that. No fees, no switching. So if you want to talk up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents, just dial 1010-220 first.
At Burger King, we're always trying to make Have It Your Way better. And since nobody knows burger grilling like Dad's, we asked them.
Is that flame too high? No, but that Whopper needs more onion.
But until fathers everywhere agree, we'll keep fixing your flame broil Whopper your way. When you have it your way, it just tastes better.
Sure, my arthritis hurts, but I don't like strong-smelling rubs. So I rub in odor-free Aspercreme.
Clinically proven to relieve minor arthritis pain in minutes.
It works well without the smell.
Aspercreme, clinically proven odor-free pain relief without aspirin.
I'm scared, Mom. Just trust your instincts.
Amy Gray just changed her career.
DCF was called and the child was placed at EFC.
What do you mean by that?
Which part?
All of it.
She just changed her address.
This is not New York City.
Here we go.
In your position, you are subject to scrutiny.
Well, I could use a little scrutiny. I live with my mother. I don't have sex. I carpool.
But one thing will never change.
What? You look like a deranged minister.
Her mother will always be her mother.
Would it kill you to wear your hair out of your face? Yeah, Ma. It would actually kill me.
NYPD Blues' Amy Brenneman stars with Tyne Daly in Judging Amy. CBS Tuesday this fall.
Join Shania, Dixie Chicks, Tim McGraw, and Vince. The CMAs, live CBS Wednesday, September 22nd. Nothing feels like country.
Television is a restless medium. It's a medium of change that excels at reflecting the shifts in the popular imagination of the culture. It takes new forms as our interests change. It explores new subjects as our willingness to accept them develops. And today, it can even begin to turn in on itself. Some people innovate with form, others with content, and sometimes there can be a superb combination of both. A stand-up who excels at making comedy from neurosis, Gary Shandling translated his comic self-obsession into two of the most fascinating and innovative comedy series the medium has seen. He first experimented with the show within a show concept with It's Gary Shandling Show in the 80s, but brought it to a high art in the 90s with one of the most wickedly funny satires on show business ever, The Larry Sanders Show.
We'll be right back, no flipping. I think I grew up completely in that television generation, you know, and certainly in the late 50s and early 60s watched a lot of television.
Every herd has its own leader, but there is only one Fury.
I liked Fury. On Saturday morning, the story of a boy and his horse, I would never miss it. My parents used to yell at me about mowing the lawn, and I'd say, but Fury's on.
Here's a mutual trust and affection that everyone can understand.
And I also oddly used to watch professional wrestling, which is, I think, where I've been most influenced.
And there it is. Utterly beautiful. A beautiful, beautiful role.
I was mesmerized by comedians on The Tonight Show. That was really how I saw and learned about comedians, like Don Rickles, Steve Allen, and George Carlin.
Look at the radar. I see the radar tonight is picking up a line of thunder showers, which extends from a point 9 miles south-southeast of Chester, Pennsylvania, to a point 8 miles north-northeast of Secaucus, New Jersey. However, the radar is also picking up a squadron of Russian ICBMs. So I wouldn't sweat the thunder showers.
I was enormously influenced by Carson. In fact, if I had any early comedic goal, it was to be a stand-up comedian and to eventually do The Tonight Show in some manner. And that was really the length of my goal.
From New York, The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. Johnny's guests tonight are Victor Borge, Phyllis Newman, Samita Joe.
To have someone love you for 30 years is astonishing. I mean, the most I've had is, 23 minutes, specifically. So 30 years is mind-boggling to me.
Right over here, your ear. You like that? Okay. You
How
ready?
do you make that really disappear?
What?
How do you make this really?
How do I make it? You get married.
He is funnier than anyone knows. If you watch The Tonight Show, even on what he would call his off nights, there was still wit about him. And then he had this other outstanding trait, which was that he was not in any way forced, and he was very comfortable and in the moment talking to his guests.
I'm so sensitive, I really can't answer a question from someone who's not interested in the question.
I'm very interested in the question. Now, what? It's all right. It's okay. I'm used to it.
I don't think that I've had a more exciting moment than the two that I've had on The Tonight Show. One was the first time I was on, and one was the first time I guest hosted. I mean, I really don't have anything similar yet in my career experience to equal those two moments. We've all done this because we're mature adults. When you see a cow on the side of the road, you stick your head out the car window and go, moo! Like, we expect that cow to be thinking, hey, there's a cow driving that car. How can he afford that? My first Tonight Show, I had a great set. I was lucky and did well, and then walked back behind the curtain, and I could hear Johnny from the other side of the curtain saying, well, you're going to hear a lot about that guy. And I mean, something I've never, ever forgotten. You're gonna break something? Don't ever go that fast in someone's apartment. On my old show, It's Gary Shandling Show, one time I did a show that took place on a daytime talk show, kind of like a Kathy Regis thing, where I was a guest, and I was sitting there thinking, boy, there's a whole nother show to do that would be from the perspective of the host. We'll be right back with Vendela. No flipping. No flipping. Vendela.
Larry, my wife lets me talk more than that.
Well, you know, marriage is about communication. This is a talk show. I grew up in Tucson, Arizona. I didn't grow up around any show business, and so I sort of feel like an outsider, and my perspective on life in general is as an outsider, let alone the television business. So my knowledge of what goes on and my bewilderment at what I see allows me to write about it.
Larry, I'd like you to meet Rainine.
Hello. He's fanning my penis right now.
Maybe you better go back to the seat.
I have to say that the Larry Sanders Show turned out to be exactly what I envisioned, which is rare. I'm really proud of it. For that specific reason, I'm really creatively satisfied with the show. It is how I visioned it. You may now flip. Good night. May I rephrase that? It's nothing like what I imagined it to be.
Ellen, are you coming out or not? Come on! What is the big deal? I've got a whole hour.
Ellen DeGeneres is the kind of comedian who excels at letting a small observation on life spin wonderfully out of control.
Somebody stop me!
She translated her seemingly random, garrulous style with its strategic pauses and blunt quips into a hit series, Ellen. Although it wasn't planned, her own commitment to character and the power of television as an agent of change led her to break barriers in the way that the best television has always done, with heart and compassion.
I remember watching Woody Allen, and way before, obviously, I had any idea what I was going to do with my life. I'm just this little kid, but I somehow liked Woody Allen, you know?
Turns out she belongs to a student nonviolent group. And I don't believe that any group is nonviolent. You know, I've been beaten up by Quakers.
Lucille Ball, to me, is just, you know, she was a genius. And her facial expressions, she was lovable. She was just so great.
Ricky?
Johnny?
Do you like earthy women?
What's earthy?
That.
Well, we don't call that earthy in Cuba.
Oh, what do you call it?
We have 5 words for it. Ay, 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 ay.
Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, who, you know, were so discriminated against because it was an interracial marriage. Everyone had a big problem with her marrying him, with them acting together. All in the Family at the time was a very risky show to do. I was talking to Rob Reiner about this. That show did not do well at all. But CBS left it on, and over the summer it found an audience and all of a sudden started doing well, and that's how they had a chance.
Oh, who are the Jeffersons? Oh, wait a minute. Hold. You don't mean them new people that moved in down the front?
Yeah, Lionel's
Oh.
family. They're really very nice people,
Oh,
aren't you?
yeah, very nice. They're wonderful people. They're lovely people, Lita, but they are also colored people.
Better hold it there, Daddy.
Now, listen, little girl. Been around a lot of places, I've done a lot of things, but there's one thing Archie Bunker ain't never gonna do, and that's break bread with no jungle bunnies.
Sometimes shows just have to be given a little more of a chance, because anything new like that is going to scare people, and especially when you have, you know, Archie Bunker, you know, saying these horrible, horrible things that a lot of people thought, but it all of a sudden made people take a look and say, God, that's a horrible way to be.
These colored people are always trying to use a social situation to raise their station.
That's right. And using you's gonna launch them right into cafe society.
Can I trust you to keep a secret?
What is it?
Don't look at me, Bibb. Vivian, I'm pregnant.
Maude was a very risky show to do. They touched on issues that a lot of other shows didn't do.
Just tell me, Walter, that I'm doing the right thing, not having the baby.
For you, Maude, for me. In the privacy of our own lives, you're doing the right thing.
I love you, Walter Finley.
It's the same thing as Cosby. You know, there were black shows on television, you know, like Good Times and like The Jeffersons. And The Jeffersons are like, you know, they made it. You know, they're moving on up to the east side. Finally got a piece of the pie. Sing it with me, everybody. I'm sure, you know, like every black person is going, good for you. You're showing that, you know, we can make it and we can live in a nice apartment and we do have normal lives and we are okay and we're represented. And then you have Cosby who comes along and, you know, it wasn't like, you know, they had to keep reminding anybody that they were black because that was enough. You're watching them on television and they're black and you're digesting it and you're watching it and they just have normal lives and they're having the same issues that any other family has and they're talking to their kids and it's all the same.
Is this the shirt?
Wait till you see it.
How much? How much? How much?
Dad, if you want quality, you're gonna have to pay for it.
$95. No 14-year-old boy should have a $95 shirt unless he is on stage with his 4 brothers.
I think that was the difference between that show and my show, which, you know, you kept hearing the word because it was a new thing to this person, you know. So I just thought it would be interesting. And you've seen gay characters as, you know, side characters on shows, but you've never seen the process of coming out, and especially a character that people knew already and to see what that's like for someone to struggle with that.
So, are you saying what I think you're trying to say? This is so hard, but I think I've realized that I am... I can't even say the word. Why can't I say the word? I mean, why can't I just say... I mean, what is wrong? Why do I have to be so ashamed? I mean, why can't I just say the truth? I mean, be who I am. I'm 35 years old. I'm so afraid to tell people. I mean, Susan, I'm gay.
It wasn't like I was unaware of what could happen. I had enough faith that even if the show did get canceled, it was something that was important to do, and it was something that was worth it. And although I prayed that it wouldn't happen, I just couldn't not do it.
We'll be right back.
Hello, morning. Hello, closet. Hello, city. Hello, locker. Hello, lunch meat. Hello, kitty. Hello, feline. Hello, fun time. Hello, pretty. Hello, brother. Hello, backpack. Hello, kitty.
How difficult is it for criminals to buy guns? Let these undercover cops show you how easy it is. Sunday on 60 Minutes.
TV is by far the greatest medium because of the freedom.
The reason I really love television is that it's intimate.
It's a way to have people glimpse into another style of living.
To me, it's like a frontier. And, it's as limited as your imagination.
Television allows one to sort of hopefully strike the nerve of the masses.
There's something about television that just, for good or for worse, makes you feel less lonely.
Earlier this evening, Paul Reiser said, "We're all standing on the shoulders of all these great shows." I think by now you can see what he meant. The great work that was done in the past is still part of the present, still living on in the great work being done today. Television is always changing, always trying to keep pace with a changing world, and sometimes helping to push along some of those changes by making them familiar. It shows us who we are, and sometimes where we might be going. For the Museum of Television and Radio, I'm Candace Bergen. Thanks for watching. Good night.
CBS Sunday, millions of Americans turn to one drama for hope.
There are angels here right now.
Montel Williams guest stars on the Emmy-nominated Touched by an Angel. Then,
My mama's dead and my daddy's in jail.
share one girl's journey to find a place to call home.
You're a keeper.
Jenna Malone stars in Ellen Foster after Touched by an Angel, CBS Sunday.
4 different lawyers
And I play very dirty.
with one thing in common.
Well, I had a little partner trouble of my own.
They all need a second chance.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Family Law, CBS Monday this fall. Take a good look at New York. It might be your last.
If you strive for perfection, but do it without heart, your work will have no soul. If you embrace technology, but do it blindly, You may find less freedom, not more. If you drive one of the best cars, but think it could be better, you're not driving an RL from Acura.
Not in time? Press star 69 and hear the number, date, and time.
I just couldn't pull myself away.
Star 69 from Bell Atlantic.
The Visiting Nurse Service of New York reminds you, when you can't be at home for your favorite show, tune to News Radio 88 every Sunday at 7 for 60 Minutes. Sponsored by the Visiting Nurse Service of New York. We bring the caring home.
It's payback time. The power has shifted. The 99 Honda clearance is here. Now you're in control. The 99 Honda clearance. Don't you just love it when you win?
Get ready for more rain. I'll have the SkyTrack 2000 forecast at 11.
Dave's in Miami with Glenn Close tonight on CBS.